Dun 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 dun. Dun.
Okay. With that, I think we're going to be talking about the resistance today. That's perfect. So we do stuff like this all the time.
I'm the sound effects.
You're the sound effects.
Awesome. I found my purpose.
Yeah. The galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. In a galaxy far, far away. Shane is talking about the resistance. Dun 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 dun. Oh my goodness. So before we start talking about the resistance, how's your brand spanking new headset going?
Yeah, well, we'll just test it. Just checking. Can you hear the dishwasher in the background? Actually, dishwasher. It's a clothes dryer. Can you hear that in the
Nope.
background? You
Can't hear it at all. No.
Really?
Truly.
Okay. You can't hear anyone speaking else besides me?
Nope. Not even crickets.
Just 1 sec. Could you hear that fart?
No. Thank God.
We're good to go.
Obviously. Final check. Speaking of clowning around, something you do very well. What do you feel is the importance of clowning around?
On the spiritual journey, like, what do you feel like when you get drawn in my experience, you get drawn in and you obviously seeking understanding spirituality, it's easy to forget joy and take life serious. Don't you think? Do you feel like you?
I find that the lighter you become and the more in touch you become with your heart, the more lighthearted you become and you have more fun. You become a child again in many senses.
Do become more childlike, 100%.
Yeah.
So my guru I had in India, Shanti Maya, used to say, I'm not sure if they're her words, but I remember hearing them from her. But she used to say, if you lose your joy, you lose your power, and that is bang on. And I
Yeah.
feel it's like, actually, you go first if you like. When you're suffering or if you're stressing, what do you normally do? Like, how do you cope with stress?
I don't know. Yeah, at work, I used to find it a challenge, and I used to actually enjoy it. I used to thrive on it because to me it was a challenge to get over and conquer it. But when it's been on the home front, sometimes you have too many things on your plate, coping with children and everything else around the home. That can you find that you close yourself down a little bit instead of opening yourself up.
How do you cope with stress? Or
How do I cope with stress? I don't know. I've never really thought of how I cope with stress. It's just one of those things.
that one. Answer that question. I don't know.
But it's not one.
How do you cope with stress?
How do I cope with stress?
Okay,
When
you cope with stress, Shane.
How do you cope with stress, Shane?
Oh, thanks for asking, Linda. Come on. How many times am I going to ask you the same question about stress and come up with 3 different answers? All about you, Yeah, thanks for that.
No.
Podcast, it's a test drive. And no one wants to take the driver's seat.
Stress. It's not something I think about.
Yeah. So how I cope with stress. So
How do you deal with stress?
oh, thanks. Yeah, well, interesting. When I tend to become more of a clown. Like I a story. When I was playing football, I remember our forwards just weren't taking up the ball hard enough. They weren't doing the right thing. And I went, it's getting frustrated. I said, give me the ball. I took the ball up. He's in the semi-final. And a guy came across and elbowed me in the jaw, and I collapsed. And I sort of half woke up, and the strapper had come onto the field and said, "Are you okay? You okay?" And I got knocked out briefly, and I could hear my mates going, "You're right, you're right. You can stay on, stay on." And I said, "Oh no, I should go off." And I got up and I said, "No, you can stay on." I said, "No, I'll stay on then. I'll stay on." And I was played a little bit longer, and the strapper came back. The ball guy, or the water guy, the water guy came back on, and I said, "My jaw's sore," and he pushed my jaw and I almost collapsed. And mind you, when I collapsed the first time, I didn't drop the ball. I'm proud of that. And he pushed on my jaw, and I almost collapsed at that point. And I said, "Oh, I think I better go off." And so I went off, and next thing I knew, it was half time. And big story anyway from asking that question. But anyway,
keep going.
We'll get there. Anyway, we're out of time. Thanks for listening, guys. The state I was in, and I was sitting in the dressing sheds, and I turned to a guy next to me and said, "Oh, is it this halftime or full time?" He said, "Oh, it's halftime." It's okay, all good. So I walked back out and kicked off for the second half. I'm sitting on the bench, and towards the end, or second half of the second half, the coach kept turning around because it's a close game, and kept looking at me, and I knew what he wanted. And I said, "Yeah, okay, I'm good. I'll head out there." And I had to push my jaw back to push my jaw back to get my teeth in the mouth guard, and I ran back on the field, played for another 15 minutes. Got a good write up in the paper, but I had a fractured jaw in two places that almost broken through. And when I was at the hospital, they weren't sure whether they should just break it fully because it's only just hanging in there, and rewire it, or let it just recover. And my face was fully swollen at the hospital, and I was just cracking jokes left, right, and centre. It's just that's how I cope. That's how in the past I've coped with stress. Obviously, there's initial like pain and there's worry, but for me that was just to try and take the pressure, or take the edge off. That's how I tried to take the edge off, was just by becoming a bit comical and making people laugh and being a bit of a clown. But I feel it's absolutely essential, and you'll find during these chats that as serious as it gets, laughter will be a big part of these conversations. I feel it's essential, and I love to have a laugh and have a clown, and just it's the greatest medicine, I truly feel. So Get used to it. Yeah, yeah. And especially sometimes when it's funny, when you're not even meaning to be funny, it's hilarious. But yeah,
you've got best. It's unintentionally funny.
Oh, for sure. And I think you've got to learn to take the mickey out of yourself first and others. And it's just, you can't take it personal. It's all in good stead. Is that the word?
Yeah. I think taking the mickey out of yourself, it puts people's mind at ease too, because I don't mind, teasing people sometimes, but I've found that if you first sort of take the mickey out of yourself, it puts them at ease, so they know that you're not just out picking on someone.
Yeah. And I feel it gets your focus off. It's a healthy distraction, I feel. And when you start laughing, your mood elevates, and then you don't become so attached to cynicism within the self, so to speak. It's just, and I feel when you're, the true joy is in the moment, and when you laugh, you tend to be more present than any other time, I feel. So it's important, devote time. I really feel on the spiritual journey, devote time every day to having a laugh or something lighthearted. So I think that's it's just so easy. We can put pressure on ourselves on the spiritual journey, And laughter is the greatest medicine for sure. I think it's so easy to have big expectations, and with that, it's you're judging everything, and I feel that's an entrapment of the mind that needs to be. Healthy distraction's a great thing, I feel, for sure.
I think there's a reason why they put out all those laughing Buddhas everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah. The
it's
importance of laughter and joy.
not taking it so serious. So it's serious work, but it has to be enjoyed, and that's where the journey cannot be enjoyed if there's no laughter.
I think things flow better too when there's joy and happiness. Things flow. When you lose the joy and happiness and it becomes serious, things start becoming forced and it doesn't flow anymore.
100%. So true. Lose your joy, lose your power. That's how it is. So that's my experience. So, and I think I mentioned, I think in a chat before, didn't I, that I'm pretty sure I did, that I used to analyze things as a teenager when I started questioning a lot of things when I was sort of in suffering mind, and I was laughing. And as soon as I asked the question, is that actually funny? It would instantly dissipate. I'd lose it straight away. And I remember thinking after maybe a year or a few months or a year, I remember thinking, I want to be able to laugh at the simplest things, even if it's silly. And I think some people probably get annoyed with how silly my sense of humor can be, but you want to learn to laugh at the silliest things, the littlest things. It's like, why should you validate something that makes you laugh? You just see it for what it is and enjoy the moment and learn to get lost in laughter, I feel. So it's something that I think to do. Sorry, you go. What's that?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, well, you wouldn't ask that of a child. And I mean, children laugh at anything and everything for no particular reason other than they think it's funny. So if children don't have to do it, why should we have to, validate why we're laughing? It's just go back to being childlike.
Yeah, I think that the entrapment is when you can be analytical, like you start analyzing everything and you start seeing answers. So some things, humor doesn't need to be analyzed. It just needs to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I feel analyze and see through those things that create suffering. And if there's joy around it, just embrace it. And just because it's joyous. A good thing you brought up about clowning around.
Yes.
That's a big part of how we are and our communication. We laugh. You and I speak, obviously, doing this together and the website and everything that we do. We laugh every day that we communicate, don't we?
Yeah.
It's just, I just think one of the most important qualities in another person is their sense of humor. Anything else on that? That's
I was thinking something that was coming up that I was thinking about when we're talking about humor. I think I don't know if this is where you want to take it or not, but it's political correctness. I think since that's come out, people have lost a lot of humor and lightheartedness.
I agree.
Because they don't want to be offended. But if you're taking the mickey out of yourself as well as someone else, just have a laugh, enjoy it.
It's like, I've got Irish, English, German, Danish, and Kiwi background. No one needs to be offended for me for anything at all.
Thanks for listening in to Clowning Around. We're transitioning into Triggered, and we'd just like to keep it in 2 whole series instead of splitting 2 topics. So I hope you've enjoyed Clowning Around, and we hope you tune in to the next one.